Hello, hello, hello. All right, I'll cut right to the chase. This is me laying down a combination of common fan theories, my own speculation, and a decent amount of made up canon for the sake of my future storytelling within both universes. That is, Bionicle and Hero Factory. So, spoilers for pretty much all of both. First thing I need to establish is that Hero Factory takes place in the future of the Bionicle universe. If I had to guess, I would say a few thousand years, like 2 or 3,000. That kind of time frame has precedent in, say, Moses leading the Exodus circa 13th century BCE to the modern day. Compare that to the end of Bionicle, where the Magna worlds are reunited into Spherus Magna, and a sort of exodus has been led to this new united world from Mata Nui, the Matoran universe. The number of years doesn't have to matter too much. It's just that the humanoid races of Bionicle, the Agori, Matoran, and Glatorian, etc., went out into the greater universe, possibly met more of their own kind, integrated in society, and built vast empires, leading into a spacified version of the 21st century. Two of my biggest indicators for this comparison going so far are the prominence of social media and their infrastructure setup closely mirroring the 21st century, our century. Anatomically, it should be established that these three species, as well as most animals in the Bionicle universe, are techno-organic, that being either mechanical bodies and organic innards, or fully integrated techno-organic, well, everything. Either way, these species are all, by any definition, cyborgs. The lineage from then to now becomes obvious when you look at how similar the character designs are between Bionicle, The Legend Reborn, and the Hero Factory animated series. Same scale, similar constructions, and of course the exposed skull pieces used as heads, so it's not hard to believe at all. This also sets up a contrast with purely mechanical beings. From the Bionicle universe, the Makuta and Vaki are both purely mechanical, for example. And from Hero Factory, the titular heroes who are, if you watched my last video, purpose-built slave robots. The closest thing any of these have to organic parts are their quote-unquote souls. What happens between then and now will probably be established in the stories themselves, but there's some other things to note too, and it's all more like headcanon based on the theory I just mentioned. First example, magic. Magic, or something like it, is a major part of Bionicle lore. In short, it is sufficiently advanced primordial technology modeled after the elements of the natural world. And it's not just your standard 6 elements: fire, ice, water, air, stone, earth. There is more obscure elements like light, its counterpart shadow, sound, psychic power, even gravity. With that said, I wouldn't call it a stretch that Von Nebula's staff uses the same technology. Gravity is a Matoran element, after all. Anyway, here's another detail I want to establish. Another sort of biblical element where Bionicle is the ancient texts like the Bible and the Torah, and Hero Factory is the present day. Methuselah, grandfather of Noah, was the oldest man to ever live. He lived to 969 years old.
Very, very nice.
And after the time of Noah and the flood, humans did not live nearly as long. Our longevity was 10th, and it's only in the past centuries that we've lived past 100. Not a direct parallel, but I think it grounds Hero Factory more to our present day, that people don't live for centuries and millennia, like in Bionicle, but for years and decades. Occasionally centuries, but time passes in a way familiar to us. There are other connections you can draw too, ones which I think enrich both theories' mythologies. My favorite among these might be that the purely organic brain slugs from Hero Factory's Brain Attack event are genetically grown from the DNA of Tren Krom, a fleshy, Lovecraftian monster of the Matoran universe, capable of mind-controlling most living beings within Mata Nui. Also, in their base form, the brains are shown to be a dark, fleshy red, with a very human-looking exposed gray matter brain protected by dorsal spikes. Definitely a stretch, but I believe that if Von Nebula could find an elemental gravity weapon, then an evil scientist could discover, harvest, and reproduce the Tren Krom being into a whole weaponized species. A more obvious one is that all the animals seen in Hero Factory, which are clearly technological in nature, are the descendants of Bionicle's Rahi beasts, techno-organic but feral, and definitely evolved in parallel with the humanoid cyborg species, as they all grew sleeker, more metallic, and brighter in color, but this might just be a design difference between the two franchises. I'm going off the rails a little here, but the biggest takeaway is that these two universes are one and the same place at different times. Anything I list here is just details to make that fact more believable, and more details will be revealed as the stories start flowing. If you want to look up the lore of Bionicle, I highly recommend Bionicle Retold by the channel Duckbricks. If you are an absolute mad lad, the 9-hour collection is something special. But of course, reasonable hour-sized chunk versions are collected in the same playlist. As a side note, I adore the running gag about Duel of the Fates playing every time Botar appears. Hopefully, I will start putting out Hero Factory fanfics regularly, and I might even do some more unscripted rambles too, if you're into that, which no one is, but hey, I need to ramble sometimes. I have a Gundam 00 Saga review that I started but didn't finish, and definitely want to keep exploring that. I'll also be doing some different sound options, the most prominent being a little background music, and hopefully that'll separate the formats out a little more and keep them interesting. And maybe my voice will sound less lulling. But if you have any other similarities you noticed, or just headcanon in general connecting these two, then please comment them below. As someone with like 10 subscribers who just does this for fun, I don't have any reason to go in for the like, comment, subscribe thing, but in this case, it seems fitting. This may be me showing off a project, but I hope to create one of the already many bridges between Bionicle and Hero Factory, and building connections takes many hands. In that sense, I hope to keep these stories alive, and in the internet age, relevancy is maintained by constant traffic. That's just how the algorithm works. Anyway, I will catch you on the flip side, and goodbye, good guys.